right, here we go. Check this out.
This is Whole Nother Level with Dwayne Lindo.
You know, frankly, I feel that we shouldn't even be talking about this. Simple as that.
The great L. Bushman.
They'd have to make so many adjustments, but I don't know what they have to do. They need a miracle. They need a miracle.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Craig Cousin.
How can you not put Tom Brady number one on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks? Man, this guy's a legend. Rings speak.
And Eric Wilson.
I didn't know Eric was going to let you talk.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. I've seen enough Facebook posts to know that you're not a Giants fan. Let's go. And welcome, everyone, to another edition of Whole Nother Level right here at Co-Work Lakewood Ranch, downtown Main Street in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. I am your host, Eric C. Wilson, a.k.a. E-Dubs. I am joined by the great L. Bushman, who is actually smiling, ladies and gentlemen, this week. If you can believe it, he is smiling. Great L. Bushman, how are you?
I'm good because I'm eating a nice brownie.
Okay.
But I am smiling because of last night.
Of course, and we will get into that momentarily. And, of course, he is my brother from another mother. I love him like no other, the factual Frank Mazzei. Frank, what's going on, my man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. Well, we are sponsored by Old School, where you can check us out every Sunday, 1991 Main Street, downtown Sarasota, right next to Hollywood 20. And, of course, every Tuesday night we are here in Co-Work Lakewood Ranch Studios doing Whole Nother Level. Gentlemen, I'm going to start with the great L. Bushman because your team came through last night, my man, in a game that was virtually called a must-win for your Buccaneers. Bucks got it done last night. What's going on, man?
Hold on, let me take a swig of this root
Okay,
beer.
all right. He's still celebrating from last
I
night.
have to clear my palate.
Shout out to our photographer, Amanda. What's up, Amanda? Hope all is well with you. Just want to let you know that Mitchell and your family and his family are in our thoughts and prayers. But great L. Bushman.
So, yeah, it was a win. I'm not going to say it was impressive, but a W is a W, especially when you're playing in the NFC South.
And you're right back in the thick of things,
I know,
man.
and the funny thing is we are because we're 2-0 in the division.
There you go.
We're 2-0 in the division. We're not even first place in there. But, you know, they played against a Carolina team that we've all been saying the past couple of months this isn't the same Carolina team. And when you have no Cam Newton, now not to knock anything from Derek Anderson, I think he managed the game pretty well for Carolina last night. But just the dumb mistakes that he was making, and the Buccaneers defense finally stepped up with some big interceptions, some big fumble recoveries, and that's what puts you in the place to score. Now, my main concern is going forward.
Okay.
I did see, and I don't know if it's just me, I just saw a lot of
What ifs?
I wouldn't say what ifs. No confidence. And that's coming from Jameis Winston.
I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad, to quote you, I'm glad you brought that up because we thought that both him and Marcus Mariota would kind of avoid the sophomore slump. And right now, I can honestly say that I think it's starting to affect Jameis Winston a little bit. We don't see that mental swagger that we saw last year with him as a rookie. That intensity that was there.
Well,
So
I look at it this way.
All right.
They ran the ball a lot
Yep.
last night with Jaquez Rodgers, who I must say has been a pretty good fill-in. I mean, I think he had, 100 yards last night. And by halftime, he almost had 62 off of 14 carries. But
Nice.
I think, excuse me. But just looking at Jameis underneath center last night, he just looked not confident. Because I think of all the picks he's been throwing the past couple of weeks, and him making just kind of bad decisions has kind of maybe affected him just a little bit. But with winning in Carolina on Monday night, that should give you a little bit of a boost going into your bye week. Because when you come back, now you should have a little bit more confidence.
Yeah.
But don't get me started on Roberto Aguayo, because that's just a whole different other story. He redeemed himself by making that game winner, but and I'm trying to defend a number second round pick for this team, and Gruden said it best last night. And I love John Gruden being on Monday Night Football. I must say he's probably the best thing that's ever happened to Monday Night Football in a long time. He had a story about Sebastian Janikowski, how Janikowski used to drive him nuts and I think he missed like 10 field goals throughout his first rookie season.
Okay.
But he made a 57-yarder, and then after that, the rest is history. So should we say maybe go out and get somebody else to do field goal duties right now? This is still a young kid.
Right.
That's he was drafted really high, so there's a lot of pressure on him to fulfill that agreement. You drafted me second round. You made move to come and get me. I think this might be a little bit of a confidence booster for him going forward. So give him time. I mean, this is still a relatively young team still, so give him time. I'm just as mad as any other Bucs fan out there with him missing kicks.
Right.
But give him time. It's his first year. Give him time. But to leave 6 points on the board, that's inexcusable because you could have had a bigger lead than what you could have had last night.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at it from Tampa Bay standpoint, if I'm Dirk Cutter, I'm jumping up and down.
Oh, yeah.
Your 2 starting running backs didn't play. I think the whole defensive line pretty much didn't play. So, I mean, with all the injuries that you had and to come out with a road win, even though, again, it's Carolina, it's still a win on the road. I mean, you got to at least be a little bit happy going forward.
What really made me chuckle last night was when they were going up for the game-winning field goal, and Winston, McCoy, and I forget whoever else was, they were huddled in together praying. You could actually see them praying for them to make that kick. But going back to what you said about, they've had a lot of injuries. Their front seven was depleted, and they're not a team that has a lot of guys on the bench that can serve us well for these, Robert Ayers and Gerald McCoy, these guys that are missing because of injuries. So they're not deep on the depth chart. So as you said, Frank, going into Carolina and getting that win, a W's a W in my
No, it truly is. And you know what? I'm happy to see it because I was really beginning to wonder if what Craig said is true. Is this going to be the same old Bucs? But to get a win against a team that went to the Super Bowl last year, and I think a lot of people, including myself, did not give the Bucs their true due. We're 5 weeks in now. Carolina is not playing like I thought Carolina was going to play. I have to admit, I think the Super Bowl hangover that you speak of, Frank, is very real. Very real for the Carolina Panthers. Not so much for the Denver Broncos, who won, but for the Carolina Panthers, you can definitely see it. Now, the Arizona Cardinals, a team that didn't even get to the Super Bowl last year but were one game away, we could see it with them as well. So our man Zach Davis chiming in saying if the Bucs still need a kicker, I could probably do better.
But
go ahead.
Let me ask you guys a question. I think we've touched on this before. Has the absence of Josh Norman really affected their defense that much?
It's more than that. It is more than that, but he was a contributing factor. So, yes.
I think he gave them, from what you hear from a lot of guys, look, Josh Norman has been running his mouth, and he does that. But he's one of those guys that brings the swagger, the confidence, the, hey, I got this, we're going to be okay, everybody relax. But, like, Charles Tillman was on that team. Jonathan Stewart hasn't really played much this year. Look, they have issues. I mean, look, Buffalo avoided the Super Bowl hangover, but, I mean, they're paying for it. Well, by not making the playoffs. So
exactly.
you can't outrun it. It's like that movie where if you escape death, death keeps coming for you.
Final destination.
Yep.
Yeah, so Buffalo's still – they're paying for that. But how good does Tampa's win against Atlanta start looking right now? I mean, look, I'm looking at it like – I mean, I'm not going to get crazy with anything, but it's like – because, Arizona kind of put them in check. But that win against Atlanta – it really looks good right now, considering Atlanta rolled into Denver and won.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And the crazy part about this is this division is now it's wide open for Atlanta, for Tampa, and you can even say even New Orleans.
You could
even say that.
You could,
because Carolina now plays New Orleans this week.
Yeah.
And look,
I mean,
New Orleans can at least, if nothing else, they can score points. You're at least going to have to put up a bunch of points to beat them.
I still have to wait till the second half of the season before I can say anything good about the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm just being completely honest with you. We saw this last year, and I will time and time say it again. They started off the season 5-1 last year, and they finished 8-8.
Yep.
So I expect them to start like this. When we get to weeks 11 and 12, if the Atlanta Falcons are still either atop the NFC South or right there in the running to win the division, my mind might change. But as of right now, I'm saying this is the same old Falcons. Let's wait till the rest of the season goes on to see how they're going to play out. But you know what? You hit the nail on the head. It's a completely, El Bushman, it's a completely winnable, up-for-grabs division. We're going to see how these teams are going to fare. I just don't know. Originally, I had Carolina clearly winning this division with the Bucs sliding into the wild card. You ask me right now, hell, I'll say it. If the Bucs can take this momentum from last night's game and keep it rolling, hell, I'll say the Bucs win the division. Honestly, because a 9-7 record right now, if Atlanta goes the route that Atlanta's going, the Bucs could win this division at 9-7 and be the only team from the NFC South representing in the playoffs.
I think that's a fair assessment right there.
Definitely.
No wild card
right
is coming out of the NFC South.
No.
I mean, this is a win, basically win the division if you want to make the playoffs.
Right. And granted, we're 5 weeks in, so we'll see as time goes on. But at this stage of the game, I'm off. I'm announcing it right now. I'm officially off the Carolina Panthers bandwagon. I just don't see it. I expected them, whether Cam comes back this week or the following week, whenever he does come back, something is missing. And I hate to say that Josh Norman is the reason, but week in and week out, I'm saying to this defense, to Luke Kuechly, to Thomas Davis Sr., where are you guys? You're supposed to be the stronghold of this defense. And teams are just coming in, whether it's at home or on the road, and they're just having their way with you. The fact that the San Francisco 49ers put up 27 on Carolina in their home opener. I mean, come on. Seriously? The San Francisco 49ers with that Chip Kelly offense, an offense that everybody now knows? This isn't nothing new. The whole entire offensive side of the ball, when San Francisco's out there, they set, they look up, look over, look down, and then run a play. That's what they do. If you're not capable of realizing this, then there's a problem. So, I mean, I just don't know. Let's talk about a couple more games. And he's not here, but we have to talk about it. The return of Tom Brady. This brother didn't miss a step, man. 400 yards? Now, granted, it was against Cleveland, in Cleveland, but still, 400 yards? You was off for 4 weeks. You weren't allowed to come even sniff the parking lot of Gillette Stadium in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You come back against Cleveland and put up 400 yards on them? I'm telling you right now, New England's record, 15-1. You heard it here first. I don't see them losing. I really don't.
Eric, you forget the fact that Tom Brady was practicing in his backyard with his wife.
It doesn't matter. He
didn't miss a
with
step.
his
That's
wife.
why, because he was practicing with yourself.
He was practicing with Wes Welker. He could have practiced with the three of us. It doesn't matter. When you come back after having 4 weeks off, no practice, but the limited practice that you have with your wife or whomever, you're not on the field. You're not engaged with your team. To come back and have that much, it was like it was a regular day.
Gusto.
Yeah.
And I'm regretting the fact that I dropped Martellus Bennett, by the way.
Oh, my goodness. How could you do that?
I moved him into my starting lineup 5 minutes before that game. And let me tell you, I am so glad because but thank you, Martellus. I was worried when he went down, and I saw that he was hurt, but seeing him come back, the touchdowns I got from him, if that's going to be how the season goes forward with Brady,
yes,
I'm going to be happy.
813-699-5353 is the number to call in. But first off, you got to show a lot of love to the New England Patriots to say it doesn't matter who's in at quarterback. But it damn sure helps when Tom Brady is there because, boy, everybody get their touches, and he forces everybody on that team to do one simple thing, their job. And it showed against the Cleveland Browns. I feel bad for Isaiah Crowell and Terrell Pryor Sr. I feel bad for them because I'm like, y'all are going to get your fantasy points, but don't expect no victories.
Listen, I said this on the show Sunday. You know what's worse than a baby crying when you take away its toys?
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady mad.
The man is pissed off And all he wants to do is just throw touchdowns.
And I've said it in preseason. I said it when we were at the office. I'll say it again when we are at Old School this Sunday from 11:30 till the start of the games. Roger Goodell, you are going to have no choice when the New England Patriots win the Super Bowl but to walk that aisle and hand him the trophy. And if you don't, believe me, you can forget about the TB Middle Finger Tour. It's going to be the Eric Wilson Fire Roger Goodell Tour, because you better man up and do what you have tried to avoid doing for the longest time. It's going to happen. Let's just call it what it is.
So,
15-1. That's it.
So we're handing out. I mean, I know we hand out championships on a whole nother level.
We do, but I'm putting facts in front of you. Tell me right now, looking at the rest of their schedule, outside of some fluke during one of their divisional games, because I'm telling you right now, in Week 8, when New England plays Buffalo, Buffalo's getting whooped. Buffalo is getting whooped. We got a caller, and I'm pretty sure I know who it is. Whole nother level. Who we talking to?
What's going on, guys?
I already knew it. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Craig Cousin joining us via phone. Man, I knew you heard me talking about him, so go ahead, bruh. Congratulations. The floor is yours, man.
Hey, how did those Pats look this weekend?
Ridiculous. 400 yards after not playing for 4 weeks. I already said all this, man. Go ahead.
Well, hey, man, I just logged on because, I've been driving back from school, but I just have to say that I was pretty pleased with what I saw, and I'm super excited to see what the future brings. But, hey, Martellus Bennett, Gronk getting back in the fold, Chris Hogan making outstanding catches down the field. It's only going to get better as the season goes along.
Listen, man, I already predicted it, 15-1, and we're going to start a movement. When the Patriots win, if Goodell doesn't show up, we're going to start the Fire Roger Goodell tour after the TB Middle Finger tour, brother.
Hey, Craig, it's about time that you have a Tom Brady tattoo on your left thigh now.
I do not have a tattoo, but I need to get a Patriots tattoo. I've been wanting to for a while, but I think I'm going to stay away from the players and just get the emblem.
That's the best way to go. I got mine, bro. I got an Eagles tat, all day, every day. So, but I mean,
hey, I'll tell you whose tat I'm not going to get though, and that's Roberto Aguayo outside him winning the game last night. I mean, what's going on with this kicker?
Listen, I said this before. I said this a little bit earlier. He's still young. Okay, he's still learning, and I said this about Sebastian Janikowski. Sebastian Janikowski missed 10 field goals his first year, so this is a kid that has a lot to live up to because he's a second-round pick. I think he's still kind of, what am I doing? So I'm not going to give up on him yet. I think they may need to sign somebody that could be a serviceable backup, but you should not. As much as I cringe every time he comes on the field to kick something, you shouldn't give up on this kid just yet. I mean,
I'm not really giving up on him. I just can't believe that looking at what he's done so far in his NFL career, that this guy has never missed in college.
I know. Well, you got to look at this, Craig. This is coming from the college and the NFL are two totally different things. Okay.
Granted.
So he
played for Florida State in a hostile environment.
And I have to ask the question, not to cut you off, Craig, but I understand in certain positions it's different from college to the NFL. Is a kicker really such a different position?
Well, I mean, there is a difference a little bit. The ball is a little bit different from the NFL to college level, and I believe the goalposts are a little wider in college than they are in the NFL, to believe it or not.
They are.
Yeah, but I saw him shank one wide left last night. I'm like, I don't care how the goalpost is that much different that you could miss that one. That was almost
he
a
gets
chip
a pass from me about maybe his second one. He hit the goalpost. I'll give him a pass for that because he could have banked off and went back in. So you never know. So I'll give him a pass for that one.
I mean, what are you just trying to get a hole in one? This isn't golf, bro. You hit the flag stick?
Hey, look, Greg, a win's a win. I think with him hitting the game winner, I think that's maybe going to give him a little bit more confidence now so he can maybe quit missing dumb kicks. I mean, he is a kicker. I mean, I understand it's just a kicking position, but I don't think the Bucs should give up on him yet. I mean, obviously there is an issue with him missing it, but do not give up on him yet.
Well, I'll say a couple things, then I'll let you guys talk and chime in. What I want to just say is that the Bucks needed that win. They got the much-needed win, be it against Derek Anderson. So regardless, they still got that under their belt. The Dallas Cowboys with Dak Prescott look pretty ridiculous, and at this point, I don't think they should go back to Tony Romo. Philadelphia, a little hiccup, but that's to be expected. Still played a pretty good game. And the Minnesota Vikings, man, I can't say enough about them right now. It's crazy. The only undefeated team in the league. I'm sure you guys will get into it, but
last man
it's
standing.
going to be a good NFL season. And I just want to say, hey, congrats to Big Papi on his Red Sox career. Class act, always been a class act. Fenway faithful, and hopefully he's Hall of Fame bound. We'll have to wait and see, but I really believe that he will be, and I hope that the baseball writers feel the same way, despite the fact that he has been in steroid allegations in the past.
Yeah. All right, Craig, we'll definitely chime on all that stuff, man. We're going to take a break, but thanks for calling in, brother. I really appreciate it. We'll see you on Sunday at Old School, 11:30 for the show, man. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good. See you.
With that, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to definitely get into more of the games. And, of course, we're going to talk about, MLB playoffs, talk about Big Papi and the legacy that Craig touched on. But you're listening to us Whole Nother Level right here on Spreaker.com. You can check us out every Tuesday here at Cowork Lakewood Ranch, every Sunday at Old School, 813-699-5353. And welcome back to Whole Nother Level right here at Cowork Lakewood Ranch, downtown Lakewood Ranch on Main Street. Big shout out to our man KP Keith for letting us do this each and every Tuesday. Also, we are at Old School every Sunday, 1991 Main Street from 11:30 till the start of the games. We're going to be there all during the NFL season. Whole Nother Level. I'm your man, E-Dubs, a.k.a. Eric C. Wilson, joined by the Great L. Bushman and the factual Frank Mazzei. So when we were on break, the Great L. Bushman brought up a very interesting topic. So let's definitely talk about it, and we'll get into the rest of the show. But you, sir, want to talk about my hated team, a team that Frank has a special place in his heart for. That is the Dallas Cowboys. But more importantly, you want to talk about one Mr. Jerry Jones. So, Great L. Bushman, I'm going to let you go ahead and do your thing, man.
All right, so I saw over the weekend that Jerry said when Tony Romo comes back, he's our number one guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, he did say that.
I get it. He's your number one guy.
Okay.
But your number one guy is one more hit that could probably take his life or maybe paralyze him.
Yeah.
Why, if you're Jerry Jones, would you replace, and I know we're only, 4 or 5 weeks in, you've got Dak Prescott, who is probably the future of this franchise, who's doing pretty well. Your Cowboys are doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, they are.
When it comes to week, was it 10?
No, actually, Tony Romo is slated to come back week 8.
Week 8 against the Philadelphia
Against
Eagles.
Philadelphia.
Why would you replace, and now depending how the other 3 weeks pan out, why would you replace the guy that's helping you win, having one of your best starts, with a guy that needs to wear a bubble wrap suit every time he needs to go on the field? I don't understand that.
Now, there is a bye week in those next 3 weeks. I know they have to go to Green Bay to play Green Bay.
Yep.
And
This coming week, I believe.
Right,
I believe
yeah.
they play Green Bay. Yep.
And then I believe they're off. And then they have, I think, another game. And then they have Philadelphia the end of the month. And so Dallas has, not, I won't say a tall order, but they have sort of an uphill battle right now.
I just look at it this way. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Listen, I think what Jerry Jones says, and it's very rare that I will defend this man, but I think what Jerry Jones realizes, he's looking at history. And he looks at Tony Romo, when healthy, is the Dallas Cowboys' best chance to win. Tony Romo has made something out of nothing. Tony Romo has been there for the 12-4 record. Now, granted, they hadn't even sniffed the playoffs prior to this happening. When all the weapons that Tony Romo has and the Dallas Cowboy has, when all of them are healthy, yes, they are a formidable opponent each and every week.
Yeah, but as an owner, as a GM, and as a coach,
which Jerry is all three.
Exactly. You have a guy that is totally injury prone, a guy with his past history put that in quotations,
Yeah.
your history of being in the playoffs, I can think of that muff kick where that placehold when they could have went further in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And I'm also looking at a history of injuries.
Yeah.
So that history is all well and good, but if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, if you're a Dallas Cowboy owner, maybe it's about time that history needs to be history, and you can maybe have Tony Romo on the sidelines with a clipboard helping mold Dak Prescott further his career and to lead this team into possibly the playoffs.
So,
That's what I don't get.
Okay, so let me ask you, and I'll ask Frank this question.
Okay.
Do you think that Tony Romo would ever come to that realization that you speak of, Great L. Bushman, and be like, you know what? I would rather play backup, knowing my skill set, but the best possibility for the team right now, for us to be successful and make a run possibly into the postseason, is Dak Prescott. Do you think he would ever come to that realization and maybe just take a step back?
I don't think, because I think any quarterback wants to play. I mean, and they all probably think that they're the best chance, of winning. I mean, if you ask any starting quarterback in the league or anybody that's been a starter, they probably would say that they're the guy. I mean, look, here's what I like, that what Dak Prescott does that Tony Romo did not do. Dak Prescott brings everybody involved in that offense. Tony Romo throws to Dez, Jason Witten,
Terrence Newman, Lucky Whitehead, Cole Beasley.
But he's more comfortable with them. Dak is throwing the ball to everybody because he doesn't have any loyalties or anything. I mean, he just got there. So if you got hands and you can catch the ball, you're probably going to get a throw. He doesn't. I mean, even what he said about Dez Bryant, when they're like, "Oh, what are you going to do with Dez not being there?" Blah blah. I mean, he gave basically the best answer. He's like, we're going to get everybody involved. I mean, it's like, okay, no Dez Bryant. Basically, I don't care. I mean, but here's the problem. One, I wonder if Jerry just says this kind of stuff because what's it got everybody talking about?
Tony Romo.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And to do a bad, Stephen A. Smith impersonation, which I'm not even going to try to do, but, with Jerry Jones and Tony Romo, they've taken long walks on the beach together. They probably showered together at some point.
He called him the prodigal son. He's like, when the prodigal son is ready to come back and return, guess what? Tony Romo going to come back and return. That's what Jerry Jones is going to do.
Tony Romo is a dear friend.
That's my best Stephen A. I could try to do, minus the glasses.
I mean, that's what Jerry does. I mean, and look, I wouldn't put anything past Jerry Jones. I wouldn't put it. They could be 8-1. Tony Romo comes back, and guess who that starting quarterback's going to be? Because Jerry loves him some Tony Romo.
Listen, I get loyalty, and I think there is no better owner, in my opinion, who is more loyal to his players and willing to give second and third and fourth chances to his players than Jerry Jones. But when you are in a position, and right now in the NFC East, you clearly can see that the two young studs in Dak Prescott and my man Carson Wentz are definitely stepping up to show that they got something to prove against Eli Manning and a $12 million mistake in Kirk Cousins. I mean, I just have to look at Jerry and say, what are you thinking? Isn't this about getting the ring? Isn't this what you want? I mean, listen, Tony Romo is not Tom Brady, okay? But Dak Prescott may be your future in getting you another shot at the title. So
I can just put it this way: if he comes back to start against the Eagles, I see this happening.
He's going to get hurt.
First play of the drive, he gets hurt.
He's going to get hurt. I'm going to tell you right now. Tony Romo come back October 30th against Philadelphia. Tony Romo getting hurt.
Because if you look at it this way, though, if they have this momentum that keeps going week by week, going into that game, why start him? You have that momentum. If he's playing still that well, why kill that momentum?
All right, so let me ask you this. They go to Green Bay this week. Mm-hmm. Should Dallas be successful in winning this week against Green Bay in Lambeau Field, do you think that's going to be enough for Tony Romo, for Jerry Jones to say, we're riding with Dak the rest of the season?
I don't think anything would be enough for him to say that. I think even if they lose in Green Bay, look, you couldn't win a game without Tony Romo, with 3-4 different quarterbacks. You didn't win at all. You lost basically a whole season last year because one guy couldn't come and play.
Right.
I mean, now granted, it's not. They lost some other guys. DeMarcus Ware's not there anymore. Not the same team that went 12-4, but still, you couldn't win with any other quarterback. You got a guy that you're 4-1 without Tony Romo. I mean, he should be jumping up and down, wrapping his arms around Dak Prescott all day long. And all he can think about to say is, Tony Romo is our number one guy.
Something's wrong. Something's wrong. I mean, I don't understand it. And I wish I could say it would be bittersweet for me because I want to see a Carson Wentz, Dak Prescott, Eagles, Cowboys game. But you bring Tony Romo back, I'm going to see it regardless because we're going to put Romo on his backside yet again. And this time it might be, and I don't want to say this, but it might be the end. It might be forever. It might be to the point where doctors are saying, no, you cannot go back out there.
They should be saying it now.
I agree.
They should.
But his biggest cheerleader, Tony Romo's biggest cheerleader, is Jerry Jones.
Look, Tony Romo might be the one that could diffuse this whole thing if he comes to that realization and says, he does have a good-looking wife. I mean, damn. Whatever you want to say and hate about Tony Romo, you can't talk about his relationship choices because he
has a good track of them.
I mean, exactly.
Very good track.
He does.
He's done well. 2 kids, young. I mean, he's still a young guy, 35, 36.
Something like that.
Dude, at some point, you've had a good career. I mean, you've made a lot of money. And look, he could get broadcasting jobs. I mean, commentary. It's not the end. It's just the beginning of that next chapter. But at some point, you got to say, I want to be able to throw the football with my kids. I mean, I want to be able to go to their games and not, have to worry about. I mean, look, back problems, neck, collarbone. I mean,
but when the owner of the organization and the GM of the organization, who happen to be one and the same in this particular instance, are saying to you, don't worry about this. You get healthy. Because when you come back, you going to start. Honestly, think about that. Your boss, the man who writes your paycheck, is saying to you, you go rest up, get healthy. When you ready, you're starting. I mean, I don't think Tony Romo's ever going to have that realization that you speak of, Frank, until Jerry Jones is no longer saying that.
Well, and I think, too, is the fact that they've not been concussions. If these had all been concussions, it would make it, look, Troy Aikman, Steve Young, I mean, I'm sure they didn't want to go out, but they finally were like, damn, I mean, how many concussions? The fact that it's not really been concussions with Tony Romo, and it's been, a neck, a little fracture here, or, a split there, whatever. If these had all been concussions, I think it would be easier for him to come to that conclusion. But because it's, some injuries, injections, some medicine, some steroids, and, have at it, I think he's probably still going to want to play.
That's crazy. That's just nuts. All right, I want to ask you gentlemen another question here on a whole nother level. And again, 813-699-5353. Please call in, chime in. We are sponsored by Old School Bar, where we'll be every Sunday, 1991 Main Street, right next to Hollywood 20. Then we're back in the studio every Tuesday here at Co-Work Lakewood Ranch on Tuesday nights, giving you a recap of the show and what's going on in the world of sports. Gentlemen, did the Atlanta Falcons give the rest of the NFL the blueprint on how to beat the defending champs, the Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos, or are we putting this game on the shoulders of one rookie named Paxton Lynch?
Different year, same story with the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
Started off hot, gonna
right.
end up 8-8, just
All right,
like
man.
last year. We see flashes of Matty Ice, same thing like last year.
Okay.
The Broncos probably needed to have this loss to have at least of a reality check come to them because, you can't be 5-0, I mean, unless you're the Minnesota Vikings, of course.
Exactly.
But, you're putting in a rookie quarterback, Paxton Lynch, who a lot of people were really high on with this guy during the offseason. But I think this is what Denver needed to maybe come back down from the mountain. to at least have that loss early in the season instead of later.
Okay.
But this is an Atlanta Falcon team that is hot right now. They're putting up a lot of points, but still, this is the same story from last year. It's just going to end in the same way.
Okay.
I agree. It's hard to be excited just based on last year. If last year didn't happen and they came out like this, I mean, you'd want to buy in more. I don't know if it's a blueprint because only one team has Julio Jones, and you know that, and even I got to say it, Matt Ryan. I mean, look, all that regression and all that talk. I mean, I'll give some love to Vic Beasley. Vic Beasley played better in one game than he did in his whole season, I think, last year. I mean, he basically beat all his records in one game than in an entire year. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he was just a slow starter. But the way that they're scoring points and offensively what they're doing, I mean, man, they're going to be – if they could sustain it, that's the thing.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Look, if it's an 8-game season – Atlanta's going to the Super Bowl.
I got Atlanta and Minnesota in the NFC Championship game right now, honestly.
I mean, but you're going to have a defense because, look, Denver has a defense. I mean, Denver's defense is in no way – I mean, it's a top 5. Some say the best. Some, have it in there with Minnesota, Philadelphia's. They're all kind of Seattle's, all interchangeable. But they give up 23 points to Atlanta. I haven't seen Denver give up 23 points, and I'm sure they have, but it's been a while and it's not been easy. And the fact that they rolled into Denver and did it, if they did it in Atlanta, okay, I get it. I might not be as excited about it, but going into Denver in that altitude and doing it, I'm at least taking notice, but I'm still not because of last year.
Right.
I can't give them all the love, but I'll give them some love. Man, that's a good week.
Speaking of giving love, let me ask you gentlemen another question. Did we sleep on Buffalo? And I say this because they beat Arizona. And granted, they beat up a third-string New England team. But then this week, they beat the Rams considerably. Now, the Rams are who they are, but they beat the Rams at home in L.A. So did we kind of just think that this team was going to be mediocre, and now they're starting to turn the corner on us? Or are they going to wind up being the same old Bills that we expect them to be and maybe be at 8-8, 9-17?
Same old Bills, just like last year.
Same old Bills.
Same old Bills. Look, they beat a Patriots team with a third-string quarterback.
Right.
They beat the Rams, for God's sakes, and they beat Arizona with a third-string quarterback. They're beating good teams just with bad offensive prowess right now. Okay, except for L.A., of course. Which we all were surprised when they're 3-2 now. But no, this is the same Bills team we're going to see last year. They always lose steam at the second half of the season. We've always seen this with the Bills, especially with Rex Ryan at the head coach. So no, same team, same story.
All right.
Rex can coach defense. I mean, his team defensively is pretty decent. The Rams they can't score at all. I mean, look, Colin Kaepernick is going to start before Jared Goff. I mean, if you look at it, it's come on. I mean, but yeah, the Rams, they're offensively challenged.
Speaking of that, I want to talk about that real quick. The news just broke today that Colin Kaepernick is officially going to get his start, and he's going to be the man in San Fran. So, gentlemen, let me ask you, how are you feeling about this one?
I look at it this way. I'm going to set aside all his stuff he's been doing,
right? The
kneeling and all the stuff. This is actually going to be a good thing for the Niners. So, a change from Blaine Gabbert is actually a good thing.
Yep.
I mean, but the thing is, we don't know what we're going to expect out of Colin Kaepernick because he hasn't played in, a year and a half?
Something like that.
So,
yeah.
What Colin Kaepernick we're going to see in a new system with Chip Kelly's offense, which is actually perfect for him?
Right. Now, we haven't seen it on the field.
Exactly.
But he has been involved in practice,
right.
And it's not like he has not been a part of the team. It's just that Blaine Gabbert has got the start. So now Colin Kaepernick has had all this time to learn and study and know the playbook. I agree with you. It's a question. So is it going to be better or worse, you think, for the 49ers now that we have the Chip Kelly, Colin Kaepernick combination? Frank,
better.
What do you think?
Better.
You say better. Frank, what do you say?
Yeah, I mean, look, getting rid of Blaine Gabbert is got to be a good thing. I mean, you can't get rid of Blaine Gabbert and it be bad. I mean, if that's the case, I mean, my goodness, I mean, Blaine Gabbert not being there has to be good.
Hold on, we got a caller. This is whole nother level. Who we talking to?
Hey, Eric. It's Brian. How you doing?
Hey, Mr. Rathman, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm all right. I'm going to say 49ers are better with Kaepernick.
Okay. All right. Now, you being a true Seattle fan, now seeing that this transition has happened, are you concerned with Colin Kaepernick and the 49ers possibly overtaking your Seattle Seahawks and maybe winning this division?
No.
All right. I just had to ask, you know.
Yeah, Kaepernick is what he is, but I think they'll be better because Gabbert's not any good. I actually was going to call in on your other point with the Bills. The Bills are the Bills, so you can let the Bills go. The Bills, Tyrod Taylor's not good enough. And then at the same point in time, we'll see if the student can beat the teacher this week, because Atlanta and Seattle go head-to-head here this week. And you have a team that has an offense and a defense in the Seattle Seahawks playing those Falcons. So we'll see if Mr. Quinn can beat his mentor, Mr. Carroll.
All right.
So that's what I'm curious to see.
Okay. So let me ask you a question now. You're the owner or even the GM of the LA Rams, and you draft Jared Goff number 1. Why have you not put this guy in? I mean, granted, right now the Rams are sitting at 3-2, but you went up to get this guy. You got this guy, and he hasn't even sniffed the field. Like, what's going on with this?
He's obviously not ready.
Okay.
I mean, I can probably find it if I look really hard. But somebody from the Seahawks did something funny when it was, I guess, it was day 3 of the draft. They drafted, I forget his name. It's not. I keep wanting to say Deshaun Fox. It's not Deshaun Fox. They drafted Cal's wide receiver.
Okay.
And I can't think of his name.
It's all right.
And they pulled the LA Rams tweet about drafting Jared Goff and said, basically it was the Seahawks said, hey, we would throw a highlight reel out for this guy, but we don't need to because you can just watch Jared Goff's highlight reel because he's the guy making Jared Goff look good.
Wow.
And that was on their official, like it was their official Twitter page.
Right.
And it was a link to Jared Goff's highlight reel, of which, and I can't think of the guy's name. They cut him. He's on the Seahawks practice squad.
Okay.
He kept making like these ridiculous athletic jumping, catches in the back of the end zone, and so it was, I thought it was hilarious actually. So maybe he's just not ready.
All right.
That's the only thing I could think of.
No, that's fine. Hey, Brian, before I let you go really quick, since I'm not sure if we're going to talk to you on Sunday or not. All right, so we got Atlanta, Seattle. Got to give me a score, bro.
Well, let's see. Julio only had 26 yards this week, so he's probably due for like 215. It's in Seattle, though. See, I'm not really sold on. See, I think Seattle, because they're running Pete Carroll's defense,
right?
So they know it. And Russell Wilson is Houdini. I'll say Seahawks 31, Falcons 28.
31-28. All right, my brother. Good talking to you, man. We'll talk to you next time.
All right, catch you later, guys. Have a good show.
Thank you.
He may be right about Goff might not just be ready yet.
This is true. Something that we didn't really think
But
about.
anemic as the Rams' offense has been. I mean, Gurley hasn't been doing much.
Right.
I mean, Tavon Austin's been silent.
Right.
Yep.
So it could be something else besides this. You never know.
It could be that. The only reason that I'm not willing to go there just yet is because Jeff Fisher has that old school he doesn't care about quarterbacks. I mean, the fact that Jared Goff was drafted number 1 to him is probably irrelevant. In his mind, he probably thinks Case Keenum is the better option. And that may or may not be true.
Right.
It may be, but in Jeff Fisher's mind, because he wants to get some wins because of all the heat he's been getting in a new city. In his mind, he probably thinks that at least an experienced quarterback, whether he's good or not, is his best chance to win because he doesn't really care about offense. He knows if he builds the defense and everything, but the game has changed. You have to at least care a little bit about offense. I mean,
you do. You really do.
Even Rex Ryan started sitting in on the offensive meetings. I mean, come on. You have to at least consider it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Jeff Fisher almost reminds me of a Les Miles.
Well, guess
Yeah,
what?
You need to evolve with the game,
I mean,
which he hasn't yet.
If that's the case, he'll be around for a while before they finally decide to let him go.
He's been around a long time already.
Our man Craig chiming in saying, I've seen enough of Case Keenum not going anywhere, decent backup, but there is a reason you drafted Goff first overall. If he can't mimic what Case Keenum is doing, he shouldn't be in the NFL. 2 picks and scarcity of points last week, not that hard. He also said the Colin Kaepernick deal start. This is long overdue. Would have and should have happened earlier, but he decided protesting was more important than gaining the trust of his coach and his teammates. Well, we're finally going to get ready to find out how that is. With that, we're going to take another break. When we come back, Frank, I know you got to ride out of here, my brother, so we'll talk to you on Sunday when we see you at Old School, 1991 Main Street for 11:30 for the games. The great Al Bushman and myself, we're going to talk a little baseball, probably touch on a couple more games, but you're listening to us. Home Level on Spreaker.com. Always catch the replay on www.HNL3.com. Welcome back to Whole Nother Level right here on Spreaker.com. Raw Talk Online, www.HNL3.com. Remember, the phone lines are open, people. 813-699-5353. But this is Whole Nother Level. The great Al Bushman and myself, your man E-Dubs, going to round out the show today. 2 things I want to talk about before we get out of here. First and foremost, got to show love, whether you love him or you don't like him. David Ortiz, Big Papi, is gone. He had his final game in Fenway. Didn't go out the way that he wanted to, but it is over. And I have to quote Chris Archer when actually you spoke to him, great Al Bushman. I'm glad I don't ever have to play against him ever again or see him ever again. So, I mean, you know what? It's a long career for him. And I have to agree with the one, the only Craig Cousin. I hope he does get into the Hall of Fame and missed all the whole steroid era BS. But you know what? He was a class guy. He really was. And the fact that we got the opportunity to meet him and listen to him. So, I mean, let me get your thoughts on it.
You know, I was just about to say that too because we got the opportunity to meet David. And what a class act this guy is. And you know, granted, he was accused of using PEDs, you know, during that era, but it still hasn't been proven though.
Right.
And
exactly.
that's the thing. And you know, going to the Hall of Fame talk, this will probably be the guy that it's going to get in. Granted, the talk about steroids because everybody liked him.
Right.
Writers liked him, TV guys liked him, even non-Boston Red Sox fans liked him because he was a likable guy.
First ballot? What do you think?
I would say definitely first ballot.
First ballot.
I don't think it's going to, you know, it might not happen the first year he's eligible, but he's going to be definitely in there. Because I just, the body of work itself and what he's done for the city of Boston, I think, and just the way his relationship was with the game kind of speaks for itself. I mean, we could say, oh, he was accused of steroids, but look at the A-Rods, look at the Roger Clemens, look at the Barry Bonds. These guys were, granted, they were accused, never proven, but the way they handled themselves when they were accused was just being an a-hole to everybody.
Yeah.
David Ortiz didn't do that. He even owned up to it. So, Hall of Fame, I'm going to say it, and I'm not, you know, I hated the fact that a lot of the game of baseball is tainted by steroids, but I will say he's going to get in. So
no, I agree with you, and I think solely because of what he did not only on the field, but I think what he did off the field and being the go-to guy. Whenever there was a major tragedy that affected not only the country, but more importantly, the city of Boston, David Ortiz was one of the first guys to be out there saying, you know what, we are Boston strong. And that's one thing I really remember about him. But getting the opportunity to meet him like we did, he was very down to earth.
Yeah, he was.
And I could really, I can appreciate that. I could respect that. And I'm just glad that I had that rare moment to be standing there with you, listening to him, talking to him, because I feel like the first year that he's eligible, I feel like it's going to be one of those where it's like 99% yes, and there's going to be that one clown that's going to be like, well, what about this? And it's going to be like, you know what, go sit on the sideline somewhere.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
He had a great year. There's no denying it.
Yeah.
Could you maybe seeing him during the offseason maybe saying, okay, you know what, maybe I'll come back?
I don't know.
Because the door's still open in Beantown.
Of course it is. And they would welcome him back with open arms. There would be no question. If David Ortiz walked into the front office tomorrow and said, you know what, I changed my mind, I want to give it one more season, they'd be like, hallelujah, thank you. What do you need?
I know he didn't want to go out the way he did last night, but he's going out. You could say he's not going out on top, but he is going out on top because of his season.
Right.
And the Red Sox, they made the playoffs. So he's kind of going out on that white horse.
He's going out, not necessarily the way he may want to, but he's not going out on a sour note.
Right.
The only sour note is the Red Sox didn't win the World Series.
Right. And what better way to have your final game is in your hometown?
Yes.
So that's a bittersweet moment, is because you're having your last game in your hometown.
It is. It really is. And again, I will agree with you. I don't doubt it. But if you ask me right now, I'm going to say David Ortiz has played his last game in Major League Baseball. Now, that may change over the summer. Well, not over the summer, but that may change over the holiday season. He may be back with his family, and they may feel like they may try to talk him into giving one more run. But I feel at this stage, David Ortiz did it his way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And, he's got a championship to his credit. He is a Hall of Famer. He's a class guy. I'm surprised more than anything that Major League Baseball, the MLB network, has not faxed over, emailed, or given him a contract saying, we want you tomorrow doing the rest of the World Series.
Oh, definitely. This guy's going to get so many endorsement deals just to be a pitch guy.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
It's going to be ridiculous. So, last thing I want to talk about before we ride out of here today, and it wouldn't be me if I didn't do it, even though I'm going to talk about it when I do my blog, the ROE, as I call it, the recap of the Eagles game. But you know what? We're 3-1, and yeah, granted, on Sunday, anybody who was at Old School and saw me, you saw the true Eagles fan come out in me because I was pissed off.
It's very exciting.
My man Carson Wentz, he threw his first interception, which, in my opinion, was a pass interference call. I feel that the NFL needs to look at those referees and say, what were y'all doing? They overturned one call, basically saying, no, that's not what it should have been. Here's how it's going to go down. I don't feel we got screwed, so I'm not going to sit here and say that. But what I do feel like is, you know what? This was a calling card for us. Apparently, we can't play in Ford Field. But it wasn't the 45-17 of last year. We came back from being down 23-3. We made it a game. 20-3, excuse me. We made it a game. We forced Detroit to do what they had to do to win. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm going to be all grumpy and bitter. I'll say that for tomorrow when I do my blog. But I'm happy that this happened. I know you should never be happy when your team loses, but I am, because now all that talk is out the way. It's now the question. It's no longer the question of, well, when's he going to throw his first interception? And is this kid the real deal? And does he feel like he's Superman? All that talk is gone. Now what it's about is, we started off great. We had our bye week. We need to roll the rest of this season and get our butts to the playoffs, because for me, as an Eagles fan, that is going to be the true validation of what this rookie quarterback is capable of. I have seen greatness out of Carson Wentz, and I will continue to see it. But what I'm not going to sit here and say is that we got punked or we lost. No. You know what? It had to happen. Congrats to the Detroit Lions. You won a game. You beat us again. I'm still a little bitter about that. And again, tomorrow, the blog will be up. ROE, recap of the Eagles. But for now, I can say to you, I'm 3-1, and I'm at peace with it.
I'm really surprised you're a lot toned down for this.
I am.
But they're going to bounce back.
Of course.
You know what I saw out of him? Poise.
Yeah.
Because he was going to lead his team to a victory. Charging down that field.
He was.
And honestly, there was a few missed calls on that game, especially when Stafford got his helmet ripped off, and then they said, what was the call on that one?
There was a penalty. There was a flag on it, and I forget what it was. But then the NFL reached out to the Detroit Lions and to the referees and saying, no, that penalty is going to be called back because that is not how it goes. And because I was like, and you were there. I was like, seriously? Tuck your chin strap in. You wouldn't have this problem. I get it. We're all about protecting the players, and we want to see them, have long, healthy lives even after football. But if you put yourself in that situation and you don't take the necessary steps to protect yourself, then you get what you got coming to you. I don't care who you are. This game was very truth-telling to me because the one thing I did notice was this was the first game where we were down significantly. And we proved that as a team we could come back, both on offensive and defensive sides of the ball. So I'm very pleased with my team. I'm not upset. What I will say to you is, and I know there's a certain young man, and I say that because we're virtually the same age, my man Adam Schock, you can hail to the Redskins all you want. Get prepared for this Sunday, bruh, because after we lose, we come back strong.
Eric, let me ask you a question. And
Go ahead.
Since you're the Eagles aficionado here. Ryan Matthews.
If he stays healthy, man, he gonna get.
Can he hold on to the ball though?
One fumble. He had
one important fumble.
I get that.
That was an important drop ball.
Yes, it was. But I expect that from Ryan Matthews. I really do. As crazy as that sounds, I expect Ryan Matthews to fumble the ball. Every time he holds the ball, I get nervous.
I just love the fact that Darren Sproles each and every week is getting more and more touches, and that's who they need to give the ball to because that guy makes shit happen.
The three guys that need to get the ball more, in my opinion, number 1, Darren Sproles. Number 2, Darrell Green Beckham. And number 3, Venice High School's own number 47, Trey Burton. That is going to be and needs to be the running back, wide receiver, tight end combination with Carson Wentz at the helm. When I look at that little cast of characters reminds me of what Oakland has right now with Derek Carr, Latavius Murray, who unfortunately is out, Crabtree on one side and Cooper on the other. I love the fact that Jordan Matthews has stepped up. Smallwood is coming into his own. But right now, utilize those three. If I could offer any piece of advice, and I am just a fan, Darrell Green Beckham needs more touches because Nelson Aguilar can't hold on to the damn ball. You're utilizing Sproles. Keep doing what you're doing. You have 3, because Zach Ertz is back. You have 3 solid tight ends in Ertz, Selleck, and Burton. Utilize them. Keep them healthy, and I'm telling you, if Ryan Matthews can stay healthy, to get back to your original point, and can play all 16 games, I'll let this whole fumble thing go. But I don't know where he's going to be come week 8, week 9, week 10, and beyond because he just can't play a full season. But for right now, listen, he fumbled. It was a crucial fumble. But even after that, Carson Wentz still, he was poised. He was like, this is not going to affect me. We have a job to do. Let's get it done.
Hey, I'm just happy because he filled in for Drew Brees for me.
Listen,
I got a nice little 17 spot from him, so I'm happy about Carson Wentz.
He got me 23 if I put him in. Thank God. Derek Carr got me some points, though. But, man, this has been a great show. We're going to go ahead and ride out of here. Everybody listening to us on Facebook Live and Spreaker.com and HNL3.com. Sundays, every Sunday during football season. Old School Bar and Grill, 1991 Main Street. Come check us out. We're going to give you a live show. We got a 50-50 raffle going on this month, the month of October, supporting Girls Inc. We've raised over $260 for them. That's an amazing thing. We want to get it bigger and bigger. We've got a whole bunch of stuff in the works. We've got T-shirts, tank top stickers. Whole nother level is about to take it there. We want y'all to be a part of it. For the Factual Frank Mazzei, the Great L. Bushman, and your man E-Dubs, a.k.a. Eric C. Wilson, we will see y'all on Sunday. Get there at 11:30. Old School, 1991 Main Street. And again, big shout out to Co-Work Lakewood Ranch for letting us do what we do. Whole nother level. We'll see you next time.
Gee, Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.